Are you glad you're here? Are you glad you're here? So you have had the good fortune, you had the good fortune to visit some of the booths, to go to some of the tables, go to the classes before you came to the keynote. How many of you have already learned something useful today? That is your job every day of your life. The day you stop learning is the day you die. So how many of you have learned something useful today? Good. Well, we are here to celebrate watersheds. And while this last class is getting settled in quickly, quietly, you're doing a good job, thank you. While this last class is setting in, I just want to introduce the idea of watershed. What is a watershed? You are a watershed. Be careful not to smack your neighbors, but can you raise your hands? Wiggle your fingers. If your fingers are the little creeks, they're the tributaries that come into the stream. Your arm is the stream, and it comes into your heart, and this is the core. This is the main river. You are a watershed. The Illinois River in particular, if you want to raise your fingers again, begins in Wisconsin with the upper forks of the Fox River and the Des Plaines. It begins in Indiana with the Kankakee River. It comes together near your left nipple in northern Illinois near Joliet, and then flows over towards your heart and down your right leg into the Mississippi River. If your body is Illinois, you are a watershed. You are the watershed. That's exactly right. And what flows into you and through you and out of you eventually goes back to the watershed. You are the watershed. And if you think about Illinois, historically, your body, half of your body used to grow a forest. Historically, Illinois was 50% forest, 50% prairie. Guess how much forest is left? It got down to less than 5%. Now it's a little closer to 20. So whoever said 20, you're pretty close. Give that gentleman a round of applause. It's about the hair on the top of your head. Guess how little prairie is left? 0.01%. Like half of your pinky fingernail. Or when you get to be my age, about the amount of hair growing out of your inner ear. That's all the prairie that's left in the entire state of Illinois. A virgin prairie. But folks who are going to get awards today, some of our award winners have been replanting prairie. I work for the Illinois Audubon Society. We've planted several thousand acres of prairie across the state. You can make a difference. We are here to celebrate watersheds, because what flows into you... Oh, how many of you drink water? If you have a glass of water today, Peoria gets about 2/3 of its water from an ancient river, the Sankote, that flows under Illinois, and 1/3 of it from the Illinois River. So now the Illinois River is in your bloodstreams. And we're here to celebrate this watershed. Our first speaker today, I almost forgot. These are students from Hollis to remind us, zero waste for lunch. Don't forget. How many of you brought lunch? Recycle what you can. We have recycling bins, as this student is demonstrating. Compost. If you have like a bread crust or a banana peel, compost so it doesn't go in the landfill. And hopefully zero waste. The less trash, the better. Thank you, students from Hollis. Zero waste. I don't know why I keep forgetting. In just a moment, I'm going to invite some of you up. If you are a water keeper and you brought water, you know who you are, and you will pour your water in the chalice. When you come up, real quickly, real loud and clear, say your name,
Brian Fox Ellis,
and where your water is from.
The Maumee River in Toledo, Ohio, where I grew up.
So say your name and where your water is from, following the drum. Let the parade of waters begin.
If you brought water, follow them. Come on up. Your name and where your water's from. Brian Fox Ellis, Maumee River, Toledo, Ohio.
I'll hold it.
Mike Smallberger, Kickapoo Creek.
Go ahead, Joe. Joe? I'll hold it.
Joe Facette, Des Plaines River, where I grew up in Lamont, Illinois.
Mackenzie Painter, Peoria Heights Grade School.
Rebecca LeJess. This water's from the Fox River, Elgin, Illinois.
Sheila Springfield, Sangamon River.
Barb Hoffman, Illinois River.
Mike Coyne Logan, Mississippi River.
And this is the parade of waters from tributaries throughout Illinois and the surrounding region. And now,
In just a moment of silence to honor two of our founders who left this world this year. Dr. Bob Williams created the River Congress, River Action, River Keepers, River Teachers. He was a teacher among teachers who trained hundreds of teachers who worked with tens of thousands of students from around the world. Thailand, Belize, Saudi Arabia, Brazil. Teachers from all over the world came here to work with Dr. Robert Williams, or Dr. Bob, and his buddy Bob Erickson from the Sun Foundation. When Bob Erickson heard what Dr. Bob was doing, invited him to Peoria together with Joan and Bob and the Sun Foundation, created this event. We would not be here if not for these two men who spent 35 years educating the next generation. The president of Slovakia said this right here today, this is the most important classroom on the planet because we are training kids to be water keepers into the next generation. So a moment of silence to honor our founders. We are the watershed. You are the watershed. Carry the banner forward. Educate your children. Thank you, Dr. Bob and Bob Erickson. And thank you, Peoria High School drum team, for leading us in and leading us out. Let's go. So, our next speaker today is part of the reason why I'm here. Chad Bagracki created Living Lands and Water more than 20 years ago. He was a teenager. You could make a difference. You could do this. As a teenager, he complained about the trash on the river. And his dad said, don't complain, do something about it. He now runs a multi-million-dollar nonprofit that has cleaned up every inch of the Mississippi, Ohio, Missouri, Illinois River. A couple years ago, like 15 years ago, his operation continued to grow. He built a barge and works with volunteers all over the country, cleaned up New Orleans after Katrina, and Mike Coyne Logan joined the team. Mike, the trash, recycling, don't forget. Make sure that your compost goes in the compost bin. The recyclables, aluminum, plastic, glass, goes in the recycling bin. And we would love to have zero waste, not just today, but every day. When you pack your lunch, think about the garbage. Let's hear for Hollis. Thank you very much. Never remember when they're supposed to come on. Anyhow, our featured speaker today, I was enthralled, and I'm sure you will be too. Living Lands and Water is making a difference, and they're looking for volunteers. Let's welcome Mike Coyne Logan. Logan Coyne.
How's everybody doing? I'm not really going to talk today. We're just going to do 15 minutes of clapping exercises. We're going to do different varieties of that. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Just clapping, and you're like, what did we get out of that? Except numb hands. No, but I'm excited to be here. I work for an organization called Living Lands and Waters. I live on that barge with a roof about 6 to 9 months out of the year, on and off, traveling up and down different river systems in the United States with our main goal of cleaning up trash from those rivers. Anywhere from small plastic bottles to refrigerators, safes, dishwashers to cars that we pull out with heavier equipment. But this organization was started by my friend and boss, Chad Pagracki, and Chad grew up right on the Mississippi River. As Brian, told you a little bit about Chad, my friend and boss, and spent a lot of time on the river, playing, fishing, and even working on the river as a commercial shell diver, as a mussel diver, diving to the bottom of the river with a weight belt and a garden hose hooked up to a go-kart engine. If that doesn't sound safe, your thoughts are right. It probably wasn't up to OSHA standards. But anyway, Chad would spend a lot of time camping on the rivers when he did this type of work, diving for mussels. And it was his time spent out there that he saw the problem and magnitude of all this trash that accumulated on islands, shorelines, and deep into the forest near the river that get flooded up there. And he wanted to do something about it, so at a young age of 17, not too much older than yourselves, he started to reach out to people in the state and in government asking for help. But they all told him no for a variety of different reasons. But one of the reasons he felt a lot of them turned down is that he was so young to take on this huge task of cleaning up the Mississippi River that starts in Minneapolis and travels 2,300 miles from north to south into the Gulf. And you can see why a lot of people would maybe doubt some young kids. So Chad could have given up there, but he didn't, because this is something he was connected to. And we're all connected to rivers. Rivers are a part of who we are, literally and figuratively. When you hear the expression, the river is in your blood, that is not a made-up thing. The body is over 3/4 water. And for myself, the water I drank this morning came out of a tap in Moline, Illinois that originates from the Mississippi River. We all need water. Water is life, right? And sometimes we overlook these things, the importance of these important ecosystems or resources like our rivers. But Chad didn't, and Chad was very connected to it. Literally, this was his backyard, his playground. He wanted to do something about it, so he didn't give up. Fast forward a few years later, and his buddies in college had a NASCAR race on TV, and he noticed something, that the outside of that NASCAR was decorated by company sponsors. He thought if companies were willing to sponsor someone to drive a NASCAR, maybe companies would sponsor someone to clean up the river. So he reached out to a lot of different companies. A lot of companies turned him down, but eventually got one sponsor. And he got an $8,400 grant. It was just enough money for him to go out in his own boat. And this is what begins the ripple effect of, and that, when I came out here, we started clapping. energy is a real thing. Positive, negative energy. Right? Can I get another one of those? Can I get, yeah, give me a double it up. Sweet. Cool. There it is. Oh, and a little squirt. Yeah, I like that too. Nice. Okay? But anyway, that's real. That's real. It's contagious, just like the laughter. Right? And so are movements and people when they want to make things better. Set an example. Going out and starting to clean up by yourself is one guy. And he started a pretty big ripple effect. It was just one guy in one boat. And in the beginning, he was staging stuff in his parents' backyard, and his parents, they weren't really thrilled about that. And he had to think of different ways to, one thing was collecting about how to properly get rid of it, recycle it, dispose of it. And in the beginning, he was just staging in his parents' backyard on the Mississippi River. Well, his parents, like I said, weren't too thrilled about that. I'm going to talk about solutions he came up with to try to, more efficiently get rid of this trash and recycle it. But I think it's important to talk about why rivers are important, right? We're here today. It's the Clean Water Celebration, right? Clean Water Celebration, celebrating water and its importance. I have a question for you. The earth is mostly water, right? What percentage of the earth's water do we actually utilize as drinking water? Anybody? Right here. Yeah, even less than 1%, right? Most earth's water has salt in it. 97.5% is salt water. 2.5% is then fresh water, but a lot of that fresh water we don't utilize. Why is that? Anybody? What's the North and South Pole? What's the water in the North and South Pole? Glaciers. Ice. Or frozen. Like my favorite movie of all time. Okay? It's true. I've got an Olaf back tattoo. Do I want to build a snowman? Yeah, I'd build one every single day. But I'm going to let it go. Okay? Thank you. I needed that laugh. I needed that so bad. I appreciate that. Now that I've lost everyone's respect in the room as a grown man who said his favorite movie is Frozen, which is actually a lie. It's actually Frozen 2. You got to admit. You got to admit that movie's cold. Okay? Anyway. So, a large percentage, just working on my type 5 up here. Okay, a large percentage of that fresh water is frozen in ice caps, and when it melts, it's going to melt in the salt water. And then you have a lot of water that's deep underground, hard to access, okay? But water is a valuable resource. And is the Earth's population getting bigger or smaller? Bigger, right? So that demand for that resource is increasing. And it's valuable for these other reasons as well, a food source, wildlife. Rivers aren't cool just because it's water, because of all the life it supports. Rivers are a living, breathing ecosystem that support not only us, but lots of other life. And they connect us. And this might be one of my favorite maps. And Brian talked about watersheds, or FOX, right? And we are all part of this country, and we are connected. We are all connected. And rivers are a perfect example to show that how we are connected. That pink shaded area represents the Mississippi River's watershed. And it looks like, what does that look like, all those streams and rivers? What's that remind you of? What's that?
Roots of a tree.
It reminds you of roots of a tree. What else? Veins. Right. These are the veins and arteries that keep us alive. And they connect us. Right? We are all connected in this room. And we're connected to the world we live in. So the ripple effect. It went from one guy to one boat to now we have 5 barges, one that we live on, and we store and collect the trash. I told you this is what he came up with. He said, I want to put trash on barges. One, because you can store a lot on it, a lot of stuff on there, but also it's very visual, right? It brings people's attention and creates awareness of how much trash is unfortunately in our river systems. We've had a lot of help from mentors. One of my mentors, Gary Swick out here, who's going to be honored later. He's been a part of our board and taught me a lot and taught a lot of people a lot. But we've had a lot, and he's come out and helped us several times clean up, but we've worked with over 139,000 volunteers. It takes a lot, and a lot of people come together, working together. And with their help, we've worked on 29 different rivers and removed almost 14 million pounds of trash. Lots of trash. We get about 2,000 to 3,000 tires a year. We recycle all those tires. We would try to recycle and repurpose as much stuff as possible, but every bag, every 5-gallon bucket, every 55-gallon barrel gets counted. Now, if I were to ask you the question, in a little bit I'm going to ask this question, but we also have this excavator that allows us to get bigger things. We call it the Game Changer. Last year we removed over 50 cars with this excavator, and allows us to get bigger things that we couldn't get by hand or load in our boats. These are some of the stats. Like I said, one ping pong table, found a John Deere combine we pulled out. One of the crazier things is a Civil War mortar shell. Here's some other things we found over the years. Clown shoe, kind of looks like Ronald McDonald's shoe, right? I don't know what happened to the rest of Ronald that day on the river, but I think pretty safe to say he probably wasn't loving it. A prosthetic leg. There's been 13 prosthetic legs found by crew members over the years. So lots of interesting and unique stuff. But it's one thing to clean up the rivers. That's being reactive. That trash shouldn't be there to begin with, right? It shouldn't get there. That's reactive. But another important part of it is education. That's what you guys are here today, to learn about the importance of rivers. Learn about why it's important to protect them. How we are all connected through our rivers. But doing educational workshops on our floating classroom. So we actually do lessons with students on a floating classroom, doing hands-on lessons. But if I were to ask you, and the question is already answered through this slide, but what do you think is the number one material we find the river made from? What would you say? Plastic. Someone said styrofoam, which is essentially just another form of plastic as well. Microplastics, which are essentially start as usually bigger plastics and get broken down. So, plastics. So there's things we can all do to help with this problem, okay? But to give you an idea of the magnitude of the amount of plastics that are entering our waterways and into our oceans, it's about 28 billion pounds, and this is maybe a conservative estimate, of plastics enter our oceans every year. 28 billion pounds. That's the equivalent of 93,000 blue whales in weight, 2.4 million African elephants, if you want to do it in the conversion of elephants, which is ironically 4 times as many African elephants still exist, sadly. Or hamsters, 56 billion hamsters worth of plastic in our oceans every year. Now, did a lot of extensive research on hamsters, a lot of different varieties, and I had to come up with the average weight was about 1/2 pound for any mathematicians out there for hamsters. But here's the deal. These problems can seem big, right? They can seem overwhelming. And you can be paralyzed by it. These are photos taken about 15 years ago in Memphis in a backwater channel of the Mississippi. These are real photos. They were taken by our crew. But that site that used to look like this looks now like this. So So here's the deal. We can decide to say these problems are too big and we can't do anything about them, or we can say, I'm going to try to make it a little better. And when a lot of people, as Chad, my boss, would say, a lot of people doing little things adds up to big things. Everyone in this room has the power to do good, and I think it's deeply ingrained in us. I truly believe this, to want to do good things and to make the world we live in a little better. Let's give it up for you guys. So, ways you can help. I'm going to break it down into 2 simple things we can all do. 2 simple things. 1, clean up your neighborhood. 80% of the trash that ends up in our rivers just starts as garbage in our neighborhoods or communities. So doing community cleanups, going out with a bag and picking up trash. Another thing you can do, reduce your waste. Specifically, single-use plastics like straws, which are used on average 500 million plastic straws every day in the U.S. You may seem that's a small item of plastic, but if you laid those end to end, it would circle the globe 2.5 times. Another thing we can do, reduce your waste. Again, recycling is great, but let's focus on reducing these unnecessary plastics that we use. For example, bottled water, maybe the biggest hoax out there. 60% of bottled water is tap water put in a bottle and it's sold to us for a lot more money. And they've done studies of people that just strictly drink bottled water consume about 86,000 more microplastics a year. So not only are you spending a lot more money for this item and contributing to the waste stream, but you're also getting, in a lot of cases, an inferior product than the water from your tap. And finally, reduce your waste again. Because this is the reality. This is a photo taken. I just got back from working in Memphis, this backwater area, about 2 weeks ago. And it's gotten a lot better, but unfortunately, stuff comes in every year. So thinking of ways to cut down on our plastics, reduce our waste, and when all you guys do that, or we try to cut down it makes a difference. It really does. And then, like I said, we try to recycle as much stuff as possible. We do events where we sort through the waste to minimize the stuff that goes into a landfill. We recycle all the tires, recycle all the scrap metal, sort out any e-waste or hazmat materials. And then another thing that we've started doing, or Chad, we're all just trying to keep up with him, is out of the 55-gallon barrels in 5-gallon buckets, or 2s, 4s, and 5s, making durable pallets. 1, it's repurposing plastics. 2, it's reducing the amount of trees that are cut down to make wooden pallets that just don't last that long. And then these pallets can be ground back up and remade into pallets once they go bad. So who's ready to be a part of the ripple? All right? Last thing, because I want to be respectful of time here, but you can check us out at livinglandsandwaters.org. Follow us or like us, but recycling is important to us, or reducing our waste. Had an idea how to recycle or repurpose this sign that I found that says Sassy. I was thinking about starting my hip-hop rap career back up and my MC name being MC Sassy. I got an album coming out next week. It's called Sassy I Wanna Be, and I want to share with you guys a little bit of my flow, if that's okay. All right, here we go. Okay, here we go. I'm nervous. I'm no Post Malone, but I've been known and prone to rock a microphone. I got more rhymes than Macklemore's got clothes from the thrift shop. This is 100% pure and unadulterated hip-hop, because I'm from the rock town. I used to live a block down from Save-A-Lot. Now I save a little time to bust a little rhyme when I'm not on that Mississippi grind. Because every time I stand up, I deliver. Lyrics so cold, they make you shiver. I got more flow than that Mississippi River. And I'm not saying that Eminem ain't the man, but these lyrics, they melt my mouth with this mic in my hand. I'm not standing them. I was number 1 fan. But here's the plan. I'm going to pick up this mic. I'm going to run with it. I'm a maverick on the mic, so some people say I get Top Gun with it. I don't mean to talk junk, but about to get Sanford and Son with it. You big dummy. I got those lyrics that are good for your intellectual tummy. Got you wrapped in these words like a mummy because I'm MC Sassy. Always come classy. I'm not a dog girl, so don't call me Lassie. I got lyrics that stretch from here to Tallahassee, and they say 2 chains. It's just one chain that says... Sassy. All right. Thank you guys. You guys have a good one.
Let's hear for Living Lands and Water.
Okay.
You can make a difference. You can be a ripple. You already are part of the watershed. Thank you. So I've been a big fan of Mike and Living Lands and Water for a long time. One last time. What are you going to do? Recycle. Can you say recycle? Compost. Reduce the trash. And use these bins. Use these bins. These bins are all over the place. I saw these in Europe 35 years ago. They finally showed up here this year. So use them. And thank you again, Hollis. I would love to have a couple of you come up on stage and receive an award. You have a year to work on it. Next year, you can make a difference and win a Making Waves award. You made a few waves today. Be a ripple. Every year I invite students, and almost every year we have a school, a teacher, or student group who wins one of these awards. We have community activists, your neighbors, and this year I'm really excited because 2 of these award winners have been friends of mine for 30 years. They've earned it 30 years ago. And the third winner is actually one of my new best friends, I hope. It's time for the Making Waves Award. Let's give a warm welcome to this year's award winners. If you all 3 want to come on out. Yes, come stand. So first... River Keepers, Peoria River Keepers, Mike, Nate Muckatubby. They switched out on me last minute. But the Peoria River Keepers is actually a veterans-led organization working with the Native American community, working with you to clean up Kickapoo Creek and the Peoria area. And they are a chapter of a National River Keepers. Let's hear it for the Peoria River Keepers. Thank you very much. The Friends of the Fox River have been cleaning the Fox River up in the Chicago suburbs. It begins in Wisconsin, so it's one of your little fingers, and rolls down the west side of Chicago and joins the Illinois River near Ottawa. Gary is a former high school student who every year had his high school students here. His students won the award a long time ago. About time you get one, right? Let's hear it for Gary Swick and the Friends of the Fox River. Hold them up. Currently the executive director of the Illinois Audubon Society, but she grew up on a tributary, the Des Plaines, in the Chicago suburbs. As a young person, moved to Havana, Illinois, ran a marina, got involved in the Illinois River in Havana, worked for the Nature Conservancy. Anybody besides me been to Emiquon? It's one of the largest wetland restoration projects on the planet, and Joe Facette played a major role in that. And then she switched teams and currently works for the Illinois Audubon Society, having held every position in that office, is now the executive director. I say we because I also work for the Illinois Audubon Society. We manage several thousand acres, restored prairie, forest, and wetlands, including Chillicothe Bottoms is the closest one to here. And you can go visit those sanctuaries, and it's all because of this person here and the incredible work that Joe Facette has done. Let's hear for Joe Facette. Thank you. To the River Keepers, Friends of Fox River, and Illinois Audubon Society, give them another big round of applause. People like you can make a difference. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Seriously, next year, I'd love to see one of you out here. But now it's time for a little musical entertainment. As our band is getting set, I'm a big fan of Emma Goldberg, an activist in the early part of the last century. And she said, I don't want to be in your revolution if I can't dance. I'm a huge fan of bluegrass music. It is our roots American music. It is a blend of the African banjo and the Appalachian fiddle. It is jazz. It is America embodied. And the River Valley Rangers are here to entertain you. Feel free to get up and dance. Let's hear for the River Valley Rangers. Woo, woo, woo.
About 3 miles from the Battelle Yard, where the reverse curves on down. Not far south from the town depot, Sullivan's shack is found, back on the higher ground. You could see him every day, just walking down the line, with the brown tote sack across his back and his long hair down behind, speaking his worried mind. It's a long way from the Delta to the North Georgia hills, and a tote sack full of ginseng won't pay no traveling bills. I'm too old to ride the rail or thumb the road alone, so I guess I'll never make it back to home, my muddy water Mississippi Delta home. Winters here, they get too cold. The damp, it makes me ill. Can't dig no roots in the mountainside with the ground froze hard and still. You gotta wait at the foot of the hill. But next summer things turn right. The companies will pay high. I'll make enough money to pay my bills and bid these mountains goodbye. Then he said with a sigh, it's a long way from the Delta to the North Georgia hills, and a tote sack full of ginseng won't pay no traveling bills. I'm too old to ride the rail or thumb the road alone, so I guess I'll never make it back to home, my muddy water Mississippi Delta home. It's a long way from the Delta to the North Georgia hills, and a tote sack full of ginseng won't pay no traveling bills. I'm too old to ride the rail or thumb the road alone, so I guess I'll never make it back to home, my muddy water Mississippi Delta home, my muddy water Mississippi Delta home. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
We'd like to do another fiddle tune that's named after a body of water. This one's called Salt Spring.
You guys sound pretty excited about Salt Spring.
so. I think we got time for one more. This one's called the Blue Ridge Mountain Blues.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great day. Happy Earth Day.
Ready?
Yep.
Ready? 5.
When I was young and in my prime, I left my home in Caroline. Now all I do is sit and pine for all the fine folks I left behind. Got them Blue Ridge Mountain Blues, gonna stay right here and I'll sing. My grip is pegged for travel, I'm scratching gravel on a Blue Ridge far, far away. I see a window with a light, I see two heads of snowy white, and I seem to hear them both recite, honey, where is our darling boy tonight? Got them Blue Ridge Mountain Blues, gonna stay right here and I'll sing. My grip is pegged for travel, I'm scratching gravel on a Blue Ridge far, far away. I'm gonna do right by my ma, I'm gonna stay right by my pa. Gonna lay around his cabin door with no work or worries anymore. Got them Blue Ridge Mountain Blues, gonna stay right here and I'll sing. Grip is pegged for travel, I'm scratching gravel on a Blue Ridge far, far away. My grip is pegged for travel, I'm scratching gravel on a Blue Ridge far, far away.
Thank you guys.
Let's hear for the
Have
River
a great
Valley
day, y'all.
Rangers. Woo, woo, woo. River Valley Rangers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You can be the change. You can be a ripple. You can make some waves. Your job, you have one job today, just one job. Your job is to learn something and go home and make a difference. I would love to give you a Making Waves Award next year. Be the change you want to see. Care for the river. You are the watershed. Thank you for coming. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to the River Valley Rangers. Thank you, Living Lands and Water. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Bob and Bob.